Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all things boarding school. I'm going into my senior year, and when I first got into boarding school, I scoured YouTube for hours and hours trying to find tips and tricks, all of the things I needed to know for school. So today I'm going to be going over everything that I've learned, what you need to bring, what you don't need to bring, and all of my tips and tricks. So let's go. First, we're going to talk about dorms. Dorms can be scary, dorms can be intimidating, you're not sure what to bring, what not to bring. A lot of this advice is coming from my time at Idlewild, so different schools will have different things, different rules, so just keeping that in mind. So the first thing that is my number one suggestion, like if I could only bring like one or two things, a mattress topper. You can get these like probably anywhere really, but no matter how uncomfortable the actual mattress is that the school provides, that mattress topper is going to be your lifesaver. Next up, bring a fan. It's not something that you really think about, and obviously most schools are gonna have a fan. Like my school has box fans. I use a Wuzu, which looks like this. You can find them again anywhere, but Costco has them, and it is genuinely such an amazing fan. I use it even when I'm back at home. Like, it's quiet, there's so many customizable options, and it's just really amazing. Next up, you're gonna wanna bring your preferred hand soap. I'm sure some schools will provide hand soap, especially if you're sharing a communal bathroom, but at our school, we have our own bathrooms within our dorm room, but also because it's that taste of home, and it's nice to have hand soap that you really like. Next up, bring one or two nice outfits. These are lifesavers. If you have a performance or a concert, it's great to dress up. Obviously, you don't have to dress up, but also there's those random events that you don't really realize that, oh, you need a nice dress, or if you need to dress up for a presentation, it's always good to have those. Speaking of dressing, bring a few accessories for Spirit Week. Now, it's really hard being at boarding school because you don't have access to your full closet, your friend's closet, your family closets. It's harder. So what you're going to want to do is bring a few accessories that can work for a bunch of different spirit days, so that way you're not panicking or scrambling when it does come time for those. Another tip I have is checking out the school's Instagram, or if you're like ID, you have an outfit Instagram, and you can go through and see what kind of spirit weeks they have, what are popular themes, what are like repeated themes, so you can kind of get an idea of what you need to bring. So I always have a leather jacket. I always have a leather jacket that I bring, one, because I wear it with other outfits, but two, it works really well for spirit weeks. And again, speaking of, dressing, bring hangers and drawer organizers. Many schools aren't going to provide you with hangers, so really helpful to have that with you. But also getting those hangers, I'll put a picture up here, I don't really know how to explain them, but they have little holes so you can hang multiple things on one hanger. And with drawer organizers, you really want to maximize your space. Being in a dorm, you don't have the same amount of closet space or even drawer space that you're used to, so you want to maximize and organize as much as possible. I have cheap little fabric organizers from, I think, IKEA that work so well in making sure everything stays organized and I can maximize my space available to me. Next up, we want to be bringing extra chargers and a surge protector power strip. You're probably going to have 2 to 3 outlets total in your room, maybe 5 if you're lucky. But you're going to want to, again, maximize what you have. And you don't realize how many things you need to plug in until you get there. You need a plug for your charger, a computer charger, your fan, your lamp, all of these different things. So it's really important that you have that surge protector, power strip. I'd say minimally get one with 6 outlets, so that way, you have enough, but I think I have one that has 8 to 10, something like that. You are gonna want extra chargers because A, they break, but 2, friends always need one. It's nice to have those extras. And 3, you're gonna want them to be at least 6 feet long for your bedroom. Many schools have bunk beds. I know at our school we have bunk beds, but it's also nice to have that long charger so that way you're not glued to one side of your bed or at your desk, and you can kind of take your phone with you while it's charging. Next up, little things that you don't think about, especially school-wise. You want a good quality backpack. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go drop $100 on a backpack. Absolutely not. But I've used a JanSport. This is not sponsored, by the way. I've used a JanSport every single year, and it still has not broken. Like, this JanSport has truly lasted, which is very important because you don't want yours breaking on you, but also you're carrying a lot of things. You know, maybe you have art supplies that you need to carry, or you have lots of books. So good quality backpack, as well as just extra bags with you. You know, you go into town and you need grocery bags. You don't have to pay for those. Or if you're going somewhere and you don't necessarily want to empty your backpack, but you need to take a lot of things, having those extra bags is super helpful. I always take at least my tote bag, and like 1 or 2 bigger like shopping bags, just in case. It's always better to be safer than to be sorry. Bring a swimsuit and sunglasses. I forgot my sunglasses the first quarter, my very first year, and I was so sad. Bring your sunglasses, trust me. Same thing with swimsuits. A lot of schools have pools that are connected to the gym, but also you're going on field trips. You might be going off of campus to go to these field trips that have a water park, or you're going to a pool or whatever. It's so nice to not have to worry about trying to find a swimsuit, trying to buy a swimsuit. Just bring 1 to 2. Bring a big water bottle, like big dumb bottle. I have my Awala, and it genuinely is so useful because you're walking around a lot on campus. Basically, it's a hike to get to class every day. So having that water bottle is super, super important for staying hydrated. And finally, that we're going to talk about in what you should bring with your dorm, bring Tupperware. It's not something that you're necessarily going to think of when you're trying to pack all of your stuff together, but Tupperware is so helpful because it can seal loose snacks that you just get, and you can always bring it to the dining hall and use it to grab a quick snack, grab some fruit, and just leave without having to take a dining hall bowl. Moving on to things that you don't necessarily want to bring. Obviously that you can bring these things, but these are just all the things that I've learned from being at boarding school. First, don't bring random throw pillows and random throw blankets. 1 to 2 max. You already have a small bed. You don't want to be throwing pillows off your bed to try and climb in. Same thing with blankets. I get it. I bring 1 extra throw blanket with me, just to sit somewhere. If I get a little cold, I can throw it on. But you don't want to have more than 1, maybe 2, because it just takes up too much space. On the same topic, taking up too much space, especially in the closet, you don't want to be bringing clothes that you don't wear often. That was something I learned the hard way. I packed almost all of my clothes for move-in day. I get there and I literally had to pick out what clothes had to go home with my mom because they didn't fit in my dorm. You have to go through all of your clothes and go, what do I wear consistently? What do I not? I say minimally 10 t-shirts that you wear every single day, a few long sleeves, and you can get creative with it, but making sure you're not bringing, your t-shirt from 5 years ago that you maybe wore once. You don't want to take up that extra space that you could be using for something else. Same thing with jackets and sweatshirts. I try to limit myself to 2 hoodies, 2 zip-ups, and 1 heavy-duty jacket for the snow and the rain. Just because, again, you don't want to be taking up valuable space that you need for everything else. And finally, the overarching theme of this don't bring is too many extras. I brought so many extras, especially bathroom stuff. You always are thinking, oh, well, what if I need this? What if I need that? Or especially if you have face washes or lotions that you can only get from a specific store. Think about how many you go through in 3 months. And that's how many you should be bringing plus 1. That's a good general rule of thumb. Because I brought way too many extra items and it just took up a bunch of space and I never even used them. Alright, moving on to more school supply things. Number 1, don't bring a binder. You might have used it all through middle school, and if it works for you, sure, but don't bring it. It's going to take up a lot of room in your backpack. that you could just have a few folders and a few notebooks instead, because then you're constantly having to organize it. Just personally, I don't like binders. I have a vendetta against them. I don't like them, and they're heavy and they take way too much space. So if you can, just bring a few folders and bring a few notebooks. Like 2 to 3 should be fine. Bring markers and colored pencils with you. That's something you're honestly not going to think about. And you can always buy things and borrow stuff, but it's so nice to have like a few basic markers, a few basic colored pencils if you need to highlight something, or if you have a coloring project, or literally anything. It's so nice to have. Planners. You're going to need one. It can be physical in like a physical planner. You can get online ones. There's ones that you can like create on like Google Sheets, I think. There's so many different options. Have a planner, because you're going to be scheduling your time so much, and you have to take care of yourself and like have everything on top of it. You're at boarding school, you're in charge of you. So having a planner is super, super helpful. Mine, I use an app called eGenda. It looks like this. It's free, and I love it. I put all of my homework in it, and I also use that in conjunction with my Google Calendar. My Google Calendar genuinely was my best friend last year for my junior year of just planning out my days, planning out all of my homework. So super helpful. So make sure you have a planner. Moving on to advice, specifically school advice. You are going to want to form close relationships with your teachers. At boarding school, it is a lot easier than it is at any public or even private schools, because you're living there, you're seeing these teachers all the time in passing. Maybe they live in your dorms. So forming those close relationships is ideal, because the teachers do care about you, and having that close relationship just makes your life easier. Speaking of close relationships, just pay attention in class. Like, it's such a basic thing, but since boarding schools have smaller class sizes, there's a lot more attention on you, and you will get called out for not paying attention. But also, you're spending a lot of time at these schools. Just pay attention. There's so many good things that you're going to learn there. So it's so important to like lock in class. Another thing is just be kind to everybody. It's a small school. Again, like, word gets around fast. People know everybody. So if you're notorious for kind of like not being nice or being really rude, people aren't really going to want to be your friend. Next up is talk to your roommate ASAP about things like your sleep schedule, homework, downtime, having people over, etc., etc., because you want to be setting those boundaries early. If I go to bed at 10 p.m. every single night and my roommate goes to bed at 1 a.m., maybe we talk about when are we turning the lights off? Quiet time. Like, maybe you don't want to have people over in your room, especially if you're not there, but your roommate loves having people over. So having those boundaries set up really early and learning to compromise is like the biggest skill ever. Obviously, your school is probably going to have resources for that. Our school, we do prefects, which is like an RA, to help work out those conversations and help you set up those boundaries. But setting boundaries early on is just going to save you so much headache and so much hassle. The next piece of advice I have is give yourself grace. It is really hard to go to boarding school and even college. Like, you're still really young and you're still figuring out the world. So you absolutely need to give yourself grace with certain things, especially like time management, social skills, boundaries. It's so important to like take care of yourself and remind yourself it's not an easy thing to do. My next piece of advice is give yourself time to work on homework, but also give yourself time to take care of yourself and to have that downtime for yourself, because it is so important. It's so easy to get lost in, okay, I have to go to class and then I have arts classes and then I'm going to do my homework and then I'm going to go to sleep. It's not sustainable. And trust me, you will just burn yourself out, which is not good. You want to be able to have fun and experience all of these amazing things and learn so many amazing things and be taking care of yourself. So scheduling in those times, I use my Sundays as like a Sunday reset. I clean my room, I finish up my homework for the week, I give myself time to like relax, scroll, catch up on my shows. Just having those times for you like planned out to take a breath and take a minute and collect yourselves is so important for your mental health. Next up for school advice is learn how to write a proper email and how to talk to your teachers. learning how to write a proper email, honestly, it was like the biggest life skill I could ever have, especially before going to boarding school. Knowing how to write an email that is respectful, gets your point across, and is professional is so important, not only for school, but just in life in general. And speaking of which, talking to your teachers is so important. They do want you to succeed, and since you're at boarding school, they see you all the time. So it's really important to keep those lines of communication open with your teachers, especially when you're struggling. They want to see you like thrive and have an amazing time and learn. So keep those lines of communication open with your teachers. Next piece of advice is homesickness. Homesickness can be so difficult. My first year, I think I genuinely would just like kind of cry at night just because like I missed my parents and I miss being home, and it's so common. You are not alone in that. Again, if you go to ID, you have your prefects. They're always there for you. They get trained at the beginning of the year before students move in on how to talk to you about homesickness, how they can be a good support for you, what they should be doing. But don't berate yourself too much. This kind of goes back to giving yourself grace. Like, it's hard to be away from home, especially if it's your first time. So talking to your friends, both at school and at home, and keeping your lines of communication open with them is so important. Finally, my last piece of advice is to have fun. This is such a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Like, genuinely, going to boarding school changed my life for the better. I have become such an independent and like smart person just from going to boarding school, and I've learned so many amazing life skills and met like friends that I will probably have for the rest of my life here. So have fun, take every single opportunity, because there's genuinely not an experience like this ever. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions or worries about boarding school, put them down below in the comments. I will be sure to answer any and all of them. Make sure you're subscribed, like this video, share it with your friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all later. Bye!